Jaya Radha Dava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabala Bhakti Gopi Janabala Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajana Ranjana Yamuna Tera Chari Yamuna Tera Yamuna Tera Jaya Radha Dava Kunja Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Rama Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Paramahansa, Parivrajikacharya, Astothatas Systematic is Confanacharya, Srila Abhacharya Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Papa Maharanski, Jai Om Vishnu Paramahansa, Parivrajikacharya, Astothatas Systematic Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Papa Maharanski, Ananta Koti Vaishnavin Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Jai. Prem Si Kahal Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhar Sivasani Si Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jai. Si Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Sirama Kund Radha Kund Gigavadan Ki Jai. Si Vrindavan Dan Ki Jai. Si Mayapanavadibdan Ki Jai. Gangamaya Yamunamaya Samati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Samaveda Bhakti Venu Nitai Guru Premanand. How glorious to the summoned devotees.
Hare Krishna.
How glorious to summoned devotees.
Hare Krishna.
How glorious to summoned devotees.
Hare
How glorious to Siguranga Guranga. So, Bhagavad-gita chapter 18 text 58. Is that there?
Yes.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So, welcome to 22nd Avenue for our Saturday Bhagavad-gita discourse. So this chapter is titled The Perfection of Renunciation. Or are you doing some other thing first?
No.
Okay. So word for word translation, then translation, and purport by His Divine Grace is Confound Acharya. Srila Abhacharya Bhakti Vedanta Swami Papa Maharaj Ki Jai. Mat of me, Chitaha, being in consciousness. Sarva, all. Dorgani, impediments. Mat Prasadat, by my mercy. Tarishasi, you will overcome. Hata, but. Chet, if. Twam, you. Ahankarat, by false ego. Nasro Shashi, do not hear. Vinangshasi, you will be lost. Translation. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not walk in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Please kindly responsibly repeat. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace.
of conditioned life by my grace.
If, however,
However,
you do not walk in such consciousness,
you do not work in such consciousness,
but act through false ego,
but act through false ego,
not hearing me,
not hearing me,
you will be lost.
you will be lost.
Purport. A person in full Krishna consciousness is not duly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. The foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxiety. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes the most intimate friend. He always looks after his friend's comfort, and he gives himself to his friend, who is so devotedly engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by the false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of the laws of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws, but as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from the material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in the material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyana Jana Salakaya Saksuru Militam Gyana Tasmai Si Gurave Namaha Suchetaya Manobistam Stafitam Gyana Bhutali Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swa Padantikam Vanchakalpatayibhyacha Kripa Sundubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pasatya Disatari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Sivasari Sri Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Machitaha Sarvadogani Matprasadat Tarishasi Ata Chetram Ahankaram Nasoshasi Navinakshasi. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not walk in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So, this very text, Krishna himself is confirming that even on this royal path of the way to salvation, the way to perfection, the way to Krishna, perfecting one's existence in Krishna consciousness in devotional service, this path is very much glorified. But someone who is not 100% engaged 24/7 in Krishna's service, remembering Krishna's name, have saturating his mind with Krishna consciousness, it is very difficult. And the whole idea is that everything else we are doing in our devotional service, everything else we are doing is to come to that platform where we should be remembering Krishna all the time. And not even a moment forgetting him. Not even a moment forgetting him. So, this could be a big challenge. Now, we understand that on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna is speaking here to Arjuna, that Arjuna should be conscious of him. That means all of us. We are in the position of Arjuna because we are in a perplexing situation. We are all full of anxiety, different types of anxieties. And, we think that when this problem is solved, then, we'll be happy. But the material world is characterized by Kunta, a place that is replete, that is full of anxieties. It's like if someone is jailed, if someone leaves the beauty of his aesthetic home and then he gets committed to jail, he's not going to be happy. No matter how comfortable the jail is, you're not going to be happy. Because in the jail, you are circumscribed. And so, the position of the jiva, of whether a liberated jiva or a conditioned jiva, is actually to follow Krishna conscious, to follow the instructions of Lord Krishna, is to become conscious of Krishna. Krishna implies us to become conscious of him all the time. Not that we're conscious of Krishna now and then we go on vacation. This type of relationship, there is no vacation. You can have a spouse or a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and then you say, "Hey, you're just too much on my neck. Give me some time. Give me some time to myself. You're just nagging too much. You become too attached. Hey, give me my own time. Give me space." No, this type of relationship, there is no space. The relationship with Krishna, there is nothing like space. We have to be conscious of him all the time. I mean, it's like you have an affection for someone so much, either your daughter, your son, your parents, your friend, to the point that you carry his picture and you put it inside your pocket. Anywhere you go. Now you don't even need the picture. It's on your phone. It's on the iPhone. And that becomes the, what do you call it? Becomes the screenshot. You put it, no, not screenshot. I mean, anyways. Yeah, you put that on your desktop so that each time you open it, that's the first thing you see. You want to see that person all the time, You're thinking of him. You're thinking of him or thinking of her all the time. Someone picked me up in a taxi, and so it's a brief period. So we're discussing, and he's from South India, young man, and so I just teased him that, how long you been in this country? He said 3 years. But he said he wants to go back. I said, go back to do what? He said he's missing his family so much. I said, okay, that sounds logical, You have a strong relationship with somebody. If they are not available, anywhere you are, you want to go. You want to go. You want to go to meet that person. That is how intense relationship usually is. So if we think about that in the material world, and these are people that, if your situation becomes bad, they can abandon you. Oh yeah. But we become so intense in the relationship that we have all the comforts, but we want that person. And if even they're in a different continent, we want to go there. So that is a material relationship. Not to speak of a spiritual relationship with Krishna. And when that perfection is done, the devotee can't do anything other than thinking of Krishna all the time. We may say, oh, but that's not possible to think of Krishna all the time. But it is possible. So even the perfected soul, even in their dreams, they actually, when they go to sleep, they actually go into the different phase of service to Krishna. And therefore, when one becomes fully Krishna conscious, one is not thinking of anything else, but all of the time he is focused on Krishna. Even when he's cooking, he's going to the mall to buy the groceries, he's thinking of Krishna. He's thinking what to buy to be able to cook for Krishna, to please Krishna, to offer to Krishna, that Krishna will enjoy. So it's a different mindset. It's completely a different mindset. And so here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that, hey, you have to be conscious of me, Imagine, look at it in this way. If someone tells you, oh, I've been thinking of you all the time. How happy, would you be happy or be upset about that? You feel, oh, he loves me or she loves me. He cares or she cares. And therefore, Krishna, basically, we do have an eternal relationship with Krishna. And that relationship is based on loving service. And the position of Arjuna as a Kshatriya, as a spiritual warrior, is to fight on behalf of Krishna. So Arjuna was having some hesitancy in executing the orders of Krishna. And he found that Krishna was trying to convince him or trying to persuade him to execute his orders. And he was also giving him 4 warnings what could be the consequences if he doesn't do what he wants him to do. So here's a typical case where, ordinarily speaking, Arjuna doesn't want to engage in a fight. Why? Because his relatives are involved. Second, he is thinking of the sin. The sinful reaction is he will incur of that type of violence. So Krishna has to really put him in place and smash his ideas and convince him. So there are several ways to deal with the person, to discuss with the person. You can discuss with the person only trying to impress upon them that, look, you know better than the person and they should just surrender to you. But you find the case of Arjuna with Krishna, although Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is a repository of all information, culture, spiritual and material. He is the president of all presidents. But he didn't force Arjuna. I was mentioning the other day, he was persuading Arjuna. Persuasion is different from when you try to impose yourself on someone. And with persuasion, if the person becomes convinced about your propositions, about your logical points, you'll be friends. You'll be great lovers. Because he or she is not forcefully made to surrender unto you. So that was the case with Arjuna. And Krishna really persuaded him. And here Krishna is mentioning to him about the consequences if he does not become conscious of him. You can do the fight. Arjuna could do the fight, but the difference is that he has to execute that duty in Krishna consciousness. There are so many duties we can perform. But that duty that we are executing for Krishna, on behalf of Krishna, on behalf of the spiritual master, that is what is being talked. That is what Krishna is really talking about here. In other words, go do your duty, but understand that this is not for you. The results are not for you. You turn the results to me, and you are doing this out of your love for me. Because if you love someone, you want to make some type of sacrifices. You want to sacrifice your own convenience to please that person. So here Arjuna was at a crossroad. And we, at some point in time in our life, we could be at a crossroad, or we've been at a crossroad. And it's such a difficult period to make a decision, especially about human behavior. Decisions that have to do with behavior. Because then, ordinarily speaking, we will choose to do things that we feel we are most motivated to do. Oh yes? Because if you are doing that which you feel most motivated to do, that will create some sustainability. In other words, it will give you a lasting involvement in that type of duty. But if you have to do something for somebody, at some point in time, maybe you get tired. But if it comes out of your own volition, in that sense, you are also responsible for the consequences. So you will not wait somebody to come and tell you, do this and do that. And so we find that basically Vishnu Chakravarti was, making some commentary about this series of these verses. I think the next verse and then the other one. And he mentioned that look, Arjuna will fight anyway. That is his duty. But then the point here that Krishna wants him to fight is not just for the purpose of executing his duty, but to do it as a service to Krishna. So the bottom line is that Arjuna will fight anyway because he's a Kshatriya. He's a warrior. But the difference between just being an ordinary warrior and a warrior for Krishna is that the person who is a warrior for Krishna is conscious of Krishna in his execution of his duties. And so this basically boils down to the point that every one of us is supposed to be in that position where we execute our duties, but not just executing the duties, executing the duties to please Krishna. What does Krishna want in this case? What does Prabhupada want in this case? Well, if Prabhupada is physically there, would I do this? If Krishna is just right before me here, would I do this? So, it's so important for us because in a purport here, Prabhupada mentions, for the conditioned soul, nobody knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. In other words, this is like a complete generalization. But it's coming from Prabhupada. For the conditioned soul, not for the perfected soul. Conditioned soul does not know what is to be done and what is to be done and what is not to be done. In other words, and this characteristically is described by Krishna as qualities of one who has a phenomenological mindset. You know what that means?
Say the word again. All right.
I don't, because the word used by Krishna, I'm just paraphrasing it. The word used by Krishna is harsh. Okay, Krishna says that if someone, one of the qualities of those who have, let me use that word, who have a demoniac mentality, is that they don't know what is to be done and what is to be done. In other words, everything is like, it's like a zigzag puzzle. And sometimes they do the right thing at the wrong time. And therefore, Prabhupada is mentioning here in the purport that for the conditioned soul, in other words, all conditioned souls, we don't know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Except we come to that platform where we take advice from Krishna. We take advice from Krishna's instructions. We take shelter of the words of Prabhupada and execute our duties based on the principle of what those results could be pleasing to Krishna. How those results could be pleasing to Krishna. And so, to get lost is so easy, And to get lost means to just do the things based on our false ego. And the false ego is what drives people in the wrong direction. False ego can just lead anyone into a big mess. Today you can be the president of the United States, and tomorrow you could have threats of impeachment. Oh yeah. So, Krishna is telling Arjuna, hey, you are a warrior. But if you act based on your whims, or you based on your false ego, you will get into trouble. So this is a real good warning for all of us. It's a good warning for all of us. And the whole setup is that a person, a devotee, is meant to be developing Krishna consciousness to the point that he or she becomes fully conscious of Krishna and does everything for the purpose of pleasing Krishna. I think somebody wants to come in. Okay, they just go. And we have to do the things based on not just to please ourselves, but to please Krishna or to please Prabhupada. If we are dealing with a situation, basically, okay, let's forget about Krishna. Because we may say, well, I'm not a junior, I'm not so pure, I'm not close to Krishna. All right, let's say Prabhupada. We have to do the things that, that should be pleasing to Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada is pleased, automatically Krishna is pleased. And he has given us all of his instructions in his books, in his conversations. And we have a chance to read his purports, to refresh our memories, to refresh our minds of what we need to set straight in our lives. And therefore, the whole process of devotional service could be, just written down as a code that when I am always doing the things based on pleasing Krishna, that means that I'm right on the expressway. But it could be a challenge to do everything for Krishna. Because the mind tells us, no, you should do this. The dictates of the mind are so powerful. And therefore, it is important for us to have, this type of internalized dialogue to be able to figure out whether our decisions are based on Krishna conscious values or based on the impulse of the ego. Because the main problem, one of the major problems that we have is the misdirections that are based on the ego, the false ego. The false ego is, that element that is so difficult to break through. All of the material elements, For the false ego is the biggest. And therefore, someone could be very much advanced in their spiritual life. But what about the false ego? False ego could enhance misdirections. And therefore, Prabhupada mentions here that no conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But a person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed, and two things, and confirmed by the spiritual master. In other words, we act based on instructions from within and from without. Otherwise, if that balance is not there, people will say, well, I got intuition from Krishna. He said I should do this. So did you check this out with your spiritual master? So we have a good system, it's called checks and balances. So, because it's so easy to cheat in spiritual life. It's so easy to cheat people with so-called spirituality. But our system is so packaged in such a way that there's a check and balance. And therefore, it is important for us to understand what is duty and what is not duty. Sometimes, another person's duty could be so, we could seem to have expertise in another person's duty. But then again, Krishna mentions that it is best or it's better to execute our prescribed duties, if even we do it imperfectly, than trying to do someone else's duty perfectly. Yeah. So, the bottom line here is that execution of duty has to be there. So, in the case of Arjuna, he's a Kshatriya. He has to fight. So, if he wants to act like a Brahmin, then and the whole of this the distraction from this whole system, this simple instruction, is what is causing the maladministration on the whole planet. Because we find people who are naturally vicious, and then they are given a position of a spiritual intelligentsia, or they are given a position of an administrative warrior, and they don't have the courage. The other day I was reading about the 34th president of the United States, Eisenhower, and he was a 5-star or a 4-star general during one of the world wars. So those people, they've seen what is death. When they come to be administrators or to rule over people, they're careful because they've seen something. Now, if you ask a Vaishya to come and rule, if you come, because this is what is delineated in the Gita. If we are interposing the duties, okay? I mean, like Arjuna was trying to act as if, he's a Brahmin, and Krishna has to persuade him to do his duty. Now, in the material world, in administrative setting, there is no one to give any persuasion. People jump into into positions of administration based on fame, distinction, and adoration. Not really for the purpose of executing their duties to please the Lord. So there's a problem. And therefore, the devotees are the ones who have this information culture. And when they see some misgivings in society, then they automatically don't know, oh, this person is a square peg in a round hole. He's a social misfit. Because this is his background, and this is where they put him because of voting. And there's bound to be a calamity in due course of time. And so, the retribution that comes with all of these type of misgivings is that, the whole community is set into chaos. And therefore, Krishna was specifically telling Arjuna, look, you can get distracted by a false ego. You have to execute your duties on my behalf. And then you will attain the supreme destination. And so we have this stuff. The question is how to package this information and sell it to the people who are lacking this information. Because how many people are going to come here to listen to Bhagavad-gita? And therefore we should have a set of people who have to package this information and be able to sell it. I mean, like every company, they have a packaging section. They know there are marketers, there are advertisers, and all this stuff. So yeah, people have different type of obligations, different type of dispositions, and they're most motivated to do certain things, and those are the things that give them sustainable happiness. But in Krishna consciousness, our duties might be very challenging. Like Arjuna's case, he was feeling that he shouldn't even embark on participate in a war. But Krishna said, no, this is what I want you to do. The question is it what Krishna wants you to do? And how will you know? Find out from your spiritual master. You want to do this. How will you know that this is what Krishna wants you to do? Find out from your spiritual master. That's the check and balance according to Prabhupada. And so we don't want to get lost. We have to be conscious of Krishna. And in this Kali Yuga, the simple way to become conscious of Krishna is to chant his holy names. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you can do this anywhere. Even you are in the kitchen cooking, you can be chanting. You are in the office, you can be doing that internally. You are in the bathroom, you can be doing that. There are no restrictions where you have to chant. And this is the simplest way to become conscious of Krishna in the age of falsehood, misinformation, and mischaracterizations. Any comments or questions? If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not walk in such consciousness that act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Yes, Prabhu.
You were saying about getting instruction from Krishna from within and Krishna from without. And I can understand the Krishna from without. But the Krishna from within is like an extremely advanced stage.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how that applies to us. And then I have a second part to that also. It's also said that Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Right? So can you expand on
Yeah.
using that?
First, I get to the last one. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra is the check and balance that we have in our system. So, what we want to do, is it something that is ordained by our spiritual master, by the Guru? Is it something that is ordained by the sadhus? Is it something that is authorized by the scriptures? So that is the Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra check and balance system. And again, that is the full check and balance system. So Krishna consciousness, we are highly protected. We are highly protected because in this movement, even a child can tell the parent, "Hey, you're not doing the right thing. Hey, you're not doing the right thing." I've seen that. I traveled to one country, I don't want to mention the country, and then a couple came to me for counseling, and after speaking, they had two kids. One of them is a 12 years old boy, the other one is 8 years old. And so after speaking with them, you can come in, okay? After speaking with them, then, the mom of these boys he turned to them and he said, because I mentioned about the effects, when I was talking with them, I talked also about the psychological effects of watching violent movies, on television and all this stuff. So then, when we finished, right there, before me, so the mother turned to these two kids, and she warned them that, I think you heard what Mara said about TV. And then the 12-year-old boy, he turned to her and said, Mom, but Dad watches TV all the time. In other words, hey, because I'm a small boy, you want to chastise me? What about your husband? He's a bad example for us, boy. Yeah, so there are many people around us who will remind us. Even our own kids will remind us if we are doing the improper thing. Yeah. So, Guru Sadhu and Sastra, they're there. The preachers, the instructions of the spiritual masters, and the Sastra. And then the other point is what?
By Krishna within and Krishna without.
Yeah, we have two principles. We have the Chaitya Guru, the Guru from within, that is the super soul, and then we have the external manifestation of the Chaitya Guru, who is the spiritual master. And so, yes, on our level, we're not advanced enough to be able to hear instructions from the super soul. And so what basically we need to do is to base our executions on the scriptures and the spiritual master. Yeah, otherwise, we could be, misdirected by the false ego and by the mind. So they're nice points you raised.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, it's a very advanced stage to take
instruction
from Krishna.
Yeah, yeah.
But not to play devil's advocate here. But,
you can't, no problem.
But I mean, I think we're hearing like two sides of the coin. I mean, first we're hearing one side earlier from you, and now we're hearing a second side from you both. But I mean, I think there's right in the middle. I mean, devotees who are not pure, that is Uttama Adhikaris, they can get guidance from Super Soul. The problem is sometimes they're thinking that they're getting guidance from the Super Soul and they're not. But sometimes they are, and so then they just have to check with Guru and the Scripture and make sure, and Sadhu, the devotees make sure. But like, I mean, I can think, for example, there's so many examples, but the most obvious one is for us when we're preaching, right?
Okay.
Right, because like if we're out distributing books, I mean, my experience is what makes it successful is that actually Krishna is guiding what I'm saying, and when I was more in tune with what I was supposed to be doing under Krishna's direction, then that sometimes the most amazing experiences would happen when you preach and you realize like you didn't plan that out, and you said just the right thing, or sometimes you even say sometimes Krishna gives you the intelligence to know something that's mystic, something have some mystical knowledge, like one of our friends, Trivikram, he told me this experience where he knew the guy's name. He was like, "Oh, your name is this? Okay, here, you should read this book." And then the guy bought the book. He's like, "Wow, how did Trivikram know my name?" And they were strangers. And then afterwards, so Trivikram was like, "It's like I don't know how I knew his name either." So so I mean, that's there. While a conditioned soul can't expect that he can be in touch with the Supreme Lord in the heart, the Supreme Lord can, by His mercy, put one in touch, even if one's not qualified to be in touch. But the important thing is, if one then is doing something where there's a question about, is this going to be, is this, if it's a big decision, is this, is this in line with our teachings or not? Or is this in line with my, my psychophysical, is this the best way to use my nature in Krishna service? Then consulting with Guru, Sadhu Shastra. But sometimes there's not really any time to check. You meet the guy, and do I tell him this or do I tell him that? Which way should I tell him? And sometimes Krishna gives the right brilliance of what to say. So,
Yeah, thank you. Nice contribution. I mean, it's a normal thing, especially, Sankirtan devotees, when you're going out, you get empowered in a number of ways that sometimes you're speaking to someone and then something that you have not even read in the books, and then you just spoke to the person and you realize afterwards that, how did I get this? How did this come up? And then the person was very much, pacified. He was very pleased. Yeah, it happens. That is the power of Krishna consciousness. If you are in the field doing the work, doing the service, you have it. Krishna motivates us with a lot of inspirations. Yeah. If the super soul is giving inspiration even to scientists, how much more his devotees. Yeah. So thank you. Any other comments or questions? In the absence of any other comments or questions, we would like to go to the next phase.
Or you okay.
Sure.
Is that, yes.
Yes.
Jack.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj.